Hey guys, Jake Nikolopoulos here with episode 18 of Road to the Universe. So we are getting close. We're like down to just over 8 weeks, couple of months out from my show, and things are going really well. I'm so happy with the way that that my body's responding. I'm still able to eat a lot of food. I'm staying, well, I was staying nice and full, but the last couple of days since I've increased the intensity of my cardio, so still the same amount of cardio, still half an hour every morning, but I increased the intensity. So I'll walk like half of my cardio, I'll walk uphill as high as I can go, squeezing my glutes as hard as possible. And then for the other 15 minutes, I'll just put the incline down, or I'll fluctuate the incline up and down for the last 15 minutes, but I make sure that I walk as fast as I can, so it's pretty much a power walk. So, and now I'm sweating a lot when I'm doing my cardio, whereas before I wasn't really sweating at all. So just in like 3 or 4 days of doing that, I've noticed a really big difference in just the body fat around my stomach and around my legs. It's got a lot leaner, a lot tighter. Even now, like feeling my abs, it's starting to get a lot harder. So I'm just really happy that every little tiny change that I've made, my body has responded really well. So if anything, I'm going to speak to Neil tomorrow morning, I think, our time, which will be in the UK, it'll be their night time, and get some, I'll tell him exactly how I'm feeling, how I'm looking, send him a couple of photos, and he might throw in another refeed day, because I have been a little bit flat, not getting the best pumps the last couple of days. And I know straight away, like the body fat's still coming off, but it's a bit of a balancing act sometimes to make sure that you're staying full and being able to lose the body fat. So at the moment, I don't seem to be having a problem losing the body fat. It's more just staying on top of the food, getting enough food in to maintain my size. So that seems to be what's going to be the issue for me leading up to the show. Not that it's an issue, but I learned that in 2012 that I can get away with eating a lot of food, even in contest prep. Like once I get to about 8 to 9 weeks out, my metabolism is obviously just like a furnace. It's just burning, and it's going a million miles an hour. So everything I eat, my body just burns it up, which is perfect. That's how contest prep should be. You shouldn't have to make major changes. You should just be able to cruise into the show, and you know, that's what we're doing. So I just had another meal, an example of one of my meals. I just had 200 grams. All of my meat portions are always 200 grams cooked. So I had 200 grams of salmon. I had 200 grams of cooked quinoa. I had 50 grams of avocado. And I have some fermented foods as well, which is good for my gut health, full of probiotics and things like that as well. Anyway, let's move on to some questions that I put up that Facebook post, and you guys sent in a few questions. The first question is from Ben Lee. Hi Ben, thank you for sending in your question. Ben asks, hey Jake, I used to pyramid up weight for all my body parts and exercises. Then I'd do one working set, which I'd fail at 6 to 8 reps. Then I watched your last chest day video, and you basically did what I do, but then you banged out 57.5 kilo dumbbells for 4 sets. Is this a more optimal way to train, or is it better for a few exercises or body parts? Because I tried to do on arm day, not counting my normal sets, and whilst I got 8 reps 4 times with what I normally finish one set of 12, my arms are toast now 2 days later. So did I just finally start training properly and need to man up, or do you do this on select days or body parts, I suppose is my main question. Ben, that's a good question, Ben. You are training like a bodybuilder now. You know, you're doing the rep ranges, you're breaking down the muscle, you're putting volume in there as well. You're training like a bodybuilder. You know, if you want to train for strength, even powerlifters training for strength, they don't do one set. I don't know anything about powerlifters, but I don't really know anybody that goes in and does one set. I think Mike Menza, Dorian Yates, they were advocates of the heavy duty training, which was like a couple of warm-up sets and then they just banged out 1, maybe 2 working sets. I've tried all of that. I'm not a fan of that. I still think that volume is the king for building up a muscle group, especially if it's a lagging muscle group. I don't think there's a hope in hell that you're going to bring that muscle up with 2 exercises or 3 exercises on biceps of 1 set. When I train arms, even when I trained arms with Lee Priest, obviously Lee Priest has got some of the best arms in the world. I think that his working sets were usually between 20 or over 20 working sets just for the biceps, and then we do another 20 working sets for the triceps. So it might be close to 40 to 50 sets would be on a normal arm day, which is absolutely crazy for some guys to think about doing that many sets. But that's what it takes. I like to train. I like to train a long time. I like to be in the gym for 2 to 3 hours on chest and bicep day. I really break down the muscle. I hit it from all different angles. Do I have to train for that long? Probably not. But I really enjoy training. I love being in the gym. I love bodybuilding. So if any coach or trainer was to tell me that I'm doing too much, and then I should bring it down to like 45-minute workouts and make it more high intensity, I wouldn't enjoy it as much. I just love being here. I love being in the gym. So I just train until I can't really use that muscle anymore. And then I'll just rest and recover and eat and get ready for the next day. So Ben, I think if that is your goal, is to build the muscle and to look like a bodybuilder, then you have to train like a bodybuilder. And my advice is to do lots of volume. Again, you don't want to tire yourself out with too many warm-up sets and light sets. But once you are well warmed up, then go for it. Go for your 4 to 5 sets of 8 to 12 reps if you're going to be doing. If you're going to be building muscle. And then obviously that can all change as well. Rep ranges, I'd go more for volume if I was you. You got to muck around with what rep ranges work well with particular muscle groups. It does change from different muscle groups. You're going to work out personally what your body likes and what it responds to. Everyone is different muscle fibers and need to be hit differently. And just because my girlfriend, everybody commented on me, I can bring this up now. Everyone's giving me shit that my girlfriend's got bigger calves than me, and they actually don't measure bigger than mine, but they're just bigger. They just look better. She's just blessed with a great shaped calf. But that just goes to show the way that she trains her calves and the way that I train my calves are very, very different. Obviously, because the muscle fibers are different as well in both of our calves. So Ben, yes, you do need to man up. You need to work through all of those, the pain of all of the forced reps, the high volume, different exercises. Train like a bodybuilder. Next question is from James Potter. James Potter is a IFBB Mr. Australia. I think he won it. When did you win it, James? I know this because I looked at it earlier. I think it was 2005 or 2004. He won an IFBB Mr. Australia. So James has sent in a question. You guys can check out James's physique. He's on Facebook. Had an awesome body. Still has an awesome body. James says, how is working with Neil this prep? How much different regarding training and nutrition than past preps? Also with the Y3T, do you prefer or find one of the weeks more effective for growth? If he says if a body part responds better to a particular rep range, then you could do more of that workout for it. Have you experienced that? The first part, working with Neil for this prep would have to be something completely different. Obviously, everybody that I've worked with has offered me something different, and the best thing about working with Neil, I think, was that he didn't want to get me, when I did meet Neil, I wanted to do a competition like 4 months later, and he advised me strongly against it because he really wanted to work with me all throughout the off season. And he saw my diet as well, and he wasn't happy with that, and it wasn't a good base to be able to build a contest prep off. So I wasn't eating enough calories, not enough carbs, not enough fats. It just wasn't ideal. So I think he wanted to work with me for a good 12 months before we before we did anything together for a contest prep. And that's why he pulled me out of that, he advised against me doing that, the 2014 NABBY Universe. I took that whole year off. So that's been one of the major things. He gave me so much more food in the off season, and now getting ready for this contest prep, I'm still eating a lot of food and I'm able to drop body weight. And I've never ever had a contest prep with such a broad range of nutrients. Normally it would just be protein and carbs for me. And I suppose over the years I never saw the warning signs of my stomach and the bloating and the gut pain and the IBS that I was having. And it makes sense now. You know, I was never that smart about my food, or did I recognize my body telling me that you know, I was having inflammation problems to a lot of foods. But I was basically just eating chicken, rice, steak, rice, you know, fish, potatoes. It was just basic. I didn't really eat a whole lot of veggies. I didn't really eat any fats besides the fats I was getting from my meats. It was such a I suppose you could say, like Ronnie Coleman style caveman diet. And I did that for years and years. So working with Neil, that was one of the biggest things. You know, lots of fats, lots of avocados, lots of healthy oils, healthy nuts, nut spreads, proteins. I have a different protein source. You know, for most meals, I have a couple of steak meals. I have a salmon meal, and I have a couple of chicken meals as well every day. Don't eat egg whites anymore, only because I don't like eggs. I probably should, but I haven't eaten eggs or egg whites in over a year now. They just don't agree with me. And then training, obviously, Neil has his own theories on training, and I'm set in my ways with a lot of things that I do with my training, but I employ the Y3T, you know, as much as I can. But it's very, very hard, as you would know, James, you've been training for a long time. It's hard to get out of your you know, your set ways of how you've trained your whole life and what you know works for you. So, well, you're going to see what's going to happen with the prep anyway. You know, it's getting closer now, and I'll be doing a guest pose for the NABBA Mr. Australia. So everybody's going to see what I'm going to look like. It's definitely going to be a much more streamlined package. Body weight, look, I'm not fussed about body weight anymore. It used to be something that I always used to be on top of. But I think I'm floating roughly around about between 108 and 110 kilos on most days, and my condition's getting better and better. So I'm not sure what that's going to end up, but I'm definitely going to be a lot heavier than I've ever been on stage before. I've just got to make sure that I bring, obviously, the condition and not stuff up like I have in the past by not carbing up enough. You know, 2013, my condition was great at the Worlds, but I was just so flat. I was so petrified to eat carbs. I only carved up on maybe, you know, 200 grams of carbs because I was just petrified that, you know, of carbs. But now, obviously, learning a lot more about the warning signs of my body, what it looks like when it's flat. Obviously, sometimes it's very hard to tell the difference between flat and fat. You know, my glutes and things looked as if they were still holding fat, so I was killing myself on my diet. But it was just that I was flat. Once I started carving up, my glutes and my hamstrings started to come alive, but I just didn't eat enough carbs. So now I know that that's something. Obviously, working with Neil, I'm not going to make that same mistake again. And then in terms of the Y3T, what weeks do I find that I prefer? I definitely find that week 2 and week 1 seem to be the best for me. I'll throw a week 3 in there every now and then, but week 2s I find for delts, especially like side raises, front raises, I'll do more of a week 2 style workout for delts. Week 2 style workout for arms I found worked really, really well. So usually week 2s and 3s for the smaller body parts I found works well, and I've still kept to week 1 for a lot of my you know, for chest, for back, for legs as well, and I just changed it up. But I'd have to say that most of my workouts would be week 1s and week 2s, and I just throw the week 3 in there every now and then. So thanks for the question, James. Blake Forsyth says, how important is calf development in reality when competing? Hashtag stay massive. Look, I think it's really nice to see a bodybuilder that has developed calves on stage, obviously, because we don't see it a hell of a lot, but someone might have developed calves and have a lot of undeveloped other body parts. So if a guy's got great calves but lacks upper body or lacks legs, then you're not going to really care about how good his calves are. If a guy's got poor calves but he's got awesome legs and a great upper body, you're going to see past the calves. So I don't think it's a huge thing. It doesn't seem like judging these days. I don't think guys are getting marked down on their calf development, just because not many guys have big calves. But when you do see it on a complete bodybuilder, obviously it looks awesome. Like Flex Lewis comes to mind. The guy's calves are like basketballs. It just looks ridiculous. It looks like he's walking on his hands everywhere that he goes. It's just crazy. Well, when he walks on his hands, it's crazy because his arms are so big. When other people walk on their hands, maybe their forearms aren't too crazy, but his forearms and his calves are absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, it is awesome to see. And no, I don't think that it's really that important when competing. But in saying that, if I was a judge and I saw a guy walk out with a great body and no calves, and another one with a great body with calves, obviously I'd give it to the guy with calves. Or even if his body wasn't as good as the other guy, just because he's more developed, more proportionate, more symmetrical, he should win. But like I said, judges seem to look past the calves. Kyle Owens says, your best exercises for lower lat development and overall back thickness. Rows. Row your back. That's the song. That's how it goes. Don't worry about gently down the stream. It's just row your back. Rows and thickness go together like meat and potatoes. You have to row. Yeah, I found that all of the thickness in my back didn't come from doing wide grip pull downs, wide grip chins. It came from doing close grip pull downs and from rows, but rows first. Obviously, rows are going to give you that thickness. You can go heavy on it. You can do barbell rows, T-bar rows, dumbbell rows. There's so many machines as well that you can do, but for me, my back development has been off a standard shoulder width grip, reverse and overhand barbell row, and dumbbell rows pretty much. And then obviously I like to do rack deadlifts off the rack. I don't do deadlifts off the floor. I've probably done them like maybe 5 times in my life. I like to do them off the racks, that way I can just really isolate a lot of parts of the back that that are a little bit trickier to hit. That power movement obviously is going to get traps, rhomboids, lats, upper, lower. It's going to hit everything. So rows, that's what's going to give you all that thickness. And when I said pull downs before, close grip, I still do wide grip every now and then. But I really like to do, I might even start most of my back workouts with a close grip, the V handle pull down, just because you get such a good stretch under the armpit and you can really bring your elbows all the way back. So I actually think that that's a better movement for your lats than just doing a wide grip lat pull down, which is a pretty short range of motion, and it starts to put a lot on your rear delts, and not so much, like you don't get a very good range of motion. Still, obviously you got to do it all, but I'll put most of my effort into close grip, reverse grip pull downs, and then your rows, barbell rows, overhand, underhand, and your rack deads. Tom Duhick, hope I said that right. He says, how do you go with special occasions when you're dieting? It's pretty basic, really, Tom. It's easy and it's hard. It depends. Obviously, if I'm like a few weeks out from a show, I won't really go to any family functions, and it's not because I want to eat the food. It's more because everybody is just looking at me. My face is drawn in. Everyone's asking me questions. Everyone's telling me how skinny I look, and it just annoys me because it's very hard to get people to understand when you're like a few weeks out from a show, what you're doing, because you do look so depleted. Your face is drawn in, and they don't get it. So that's the only reason why I wouldn't go out. But otherwise, I'd go to the movies. I pack my food. Me and my girlfriend go to the movies all the time. I just bring my bag with all my food in it, and I'll just eat out of my containers, while the movie's on. I don't go out to bars, pubs, or clubs just because it's not my scene. I don't like it. But functions, friends having barbecues for their birthdays, all that sort of thing. they're as normal. Like I said, it just takes a little bit more preparing to prepare all my food when I'm in a contest prep, but that's really it. So the reason why I wouldn't go to special occasions the last few weeks is just because I can't be bothered dealing with people asking me 1,000,001 questions why I look like I'm so skinny. What else we got here? We have Simon Cole says, how many weeks out from your comp do you start your prep? Do you prefer longer preps or shorter preps? Obviously, Simon, this is going to depend on what you've done in the off season, how out of shape you are, how fat you've allowed yourself to get, how lazy you've been with your nutrition on the off season. I was really on point with my nutrition this off season. I had a diary, kept a book of everything that I ate, still ate my junk food on top, but I didn't allow myself to get to the stage where I was really fat. So this time around, I've done a 16-week diet. In the past, I've done 20-week diets because I was really fat. It really depends. I've always preferred to do maybe between a 16 and 20-week prep anyway, no matter what my condition is, just to get my body used to it all again, get the metabolism firing on all cylinders, and just to slowly work my way into the contest. So nothing worse than doing a really short prep when you're doing a hell of a lot of cardio really quick, you're having to take out too many calories and your body just crashes. You just don't enjoy the prep. Obviously this prep isn't over, I've still got a couple of months left, but feedback so far on the way that I've done things with Neil, it's the best, the most relaxed that I've ever been, and my body's making, you know, really good, really great progress. Each day, like I said, look in the mirror each day, I'm getting tighter, everything's looking better. Maybe that's got to do with not stressing, I'm not doing a lot of cardio, haven't taken out a lot of food, my body is still full of nutrients. And that's the way it should be. Like Neil says to me all the time, he said, if you're starving yourself on it, you shouldn't have to be starving yourself on a contest prep, you know. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I think a lot of that has to do with how have you trained your body in the off season, how much food is it used to. So if it is used to a whole lot of food, then obviously just taking some food out but still eating a lot of food, you're going to be in a deficit and you're going to keep losing weight. Richard Boone, last question, says, what are your thoughts on water loads / cuts during comp prep? I don't think there's any need for it, Richard. If you're in shape, there's no need to do drastic things with anything. I've found that with anything bodybuilding. If you're ready ahead of time and you've done all of your cardio, you've done the diet right, your training, everything's good, you should not have to be doing anything drastic. You shouldn't even have to cut water. You shouldn't have to do, you know, a lot of things. If you're ready early, maybe just minimal things. You might maybe increase the water a little and then back it off. I'm not sure, but it's so hit and miss to be doing things like that. That's why sometimes you see guys look great, you know, a week out from a show, a couple of weeks out from a show, and then they decide to do some sort of crazy water depletion, sodium depletion, loading and things. And obviously you do something extreme to your body's going to give you an extreme result. So that's why, you know, keep it simple, I think it's called the KISS protocol, keep it simple, stupid. It's that's the best way to do things. If you have to do something drastic or dramatic, then obviously you've either been lazy on your prep, or you haven't done your cardio, or you're just not ready. So I don't believe in having to do drastic water cuts or loads or anything like that. Yes, I have done them in the past, but like I said, learning through trial and error. There's no quick fix. There's nothing you can do that's gonna make you look, you know, amazing in like 24 hours, unless you've done all of your homework and you've prepared early enough and you're good to go. So we are done, guys. That's enough for the Q&A this week. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll do another one soon. Subscribe to the videos, hit the subscribe button there, and I'll throw up another training video for you guys soon so you can see what's underneath this jumper. You probably see my face is starting to suck in now, getting nice and thin. So people that I see a fair bit, like when I see them now, obviously they think that I'm really skinny. That's the first thing that people say. They're like, oh wow, like, you got really skinny. you know, what's going on? I thought you were going to compete soon. So they don't know what's involved. Obviously, I say to people all the time, even when I'm at a competition backstage, it's the guy that's wearing a t-shirt that looks like he's skinny and has his face sucked in. You know, that's the guy that you have to worry about, because obviously he's done it pretty tough, and underneath those layers of clothing, there's no body fat, and he's just ready to rock and roll. So that's my excuse anyway. You know, underneath these clothes are just crazy, just looking absolutely phenomenal. But hopefully soon I will be. But you guys are following along on the journey on my Facebook, obviously these Massive Joe's videos, and it's really cool. Get to share the journey with you guys, and yeah, I will see you all in the next episode. See ya.